Hey, everybody. So the subject in this video, what I want to deal with in this video is how Islam has taken over the United Kingdom, taken over England. Now, we, of course, hear about how Islam has taken over much of Europe. And, there's all these activists now, these, native Europeans who are up in arms and trying to push back on it. But there are some countries in Europe, though, that are probably too far gone. And I think at the top of that list is the United Kingdom, very sadly. So I want to play you two clips in this video. One of them is a clip of Lord Malcolm Pearson, who's been calling out the Islamic threat for many, many years, for decades, and he's called an extremist and an Islamophobe, but he continues to do so. So first a clip from him, and then we come back from that clip. I'll play you a second clip, which is just mind-blowing. So stay tuned. So here's, first of all, Lord Malcolm Pearson.
My Lords, the King's speech told us that measures will be introduced to improve the safety and security of public venues and help keep the British people safe from terrorism. My Lords, when we use the word terrorism nowadays, we usually mean Islamist terrorism. And MI5 tells us that Islamist terrorism is now the UK's most significant threat. And yet, my Lords, if we so much as try just to talk about Islam or Islamism, we are immediately accused of Islamophobia. A phobia is an irrational fear of something, but it isn't irrational to fear the modern world's most violent religious ideology. I describe it as such because, according to the religionofpeace.com website, Islamist terrorists have carried out some 46,602 deadly terror attacks somewhere in the world since their Twin Tower massacres of the 9th of September 2001, or more than 5 every day. Just in the week from July the 6th to 12th this year, there have been 35 attacks in 12 countries, killing 70 people and injuring 32. There are two broad divisions within Islam, as I'm sure your lordships know, between Sunni and Shia Muslims, with many subsects which don't often agree with each other. And the vast majority of these attacks have been on other Muslims. My Lords, I understand there is a popular conception that the word Islam means peace, whereas in fact it means submission to the will of Allah or the Muslim God. Devout Muslims should obey the Quran and emulate the life of Muhammad. This is unfortunate because the Quran contains over 100 verses which encourage Muslims to kill or subdue non-Muslims. And in 627, Muhammad ordered the death of 600 Jews in one afternoon. The Islamists' view of this, my Lords, is that peace will be achieved when our planet is ruled by Islam. My Lords, Islam's Sharia law is already running de facto in the United Kingdom via some 80 Muslim arbitration tribunals. These discriminate harshly against Muslim wives, whose husbands have only to say, "I divorce you," 3 times, to leave them divorced and often destitute. The Sharia allows Muslim men to have 4 wives at a time, most of whom are having at least 2 children. So the Muslim population is going up 10 times faster than our national average. On past trends, Birmingham and 9 other English local authorities will be majority Muslim by 2031. The radicals' plan is to wait until they can take us over through the power of the womb and the ballot box. Of course, my Lords, I pay tribute to the vast majority of Muslims in this country who eschew these tenets and live decent and helpful lives in our democracy. But we are left with the problem of what to do about the rest of them. May I suggest first that we should start monitoring our mosques and madrasas and imprison or deport our extremist imams. Second, we should encourage the licensing of imams before they can preach, as do other religions, including, I think, the Church of England. Third, the government should enact Baroness Cox's bill to give our Muslim wives the protection of our civil law. The bill has had 2 supportive second readings in your Lordship's House, but the government fears being called Islamophobic by our Muslim men, so won't support it. Fourth, we should ban the burqa in public, as 16 other countries have done, some of which are Muslim majority. My Lords, Islam is a vast subject, and I cannot possibly do it justice in the 5 minutes which is our allotted speaking time. But I have written a 2-page bullet point memo entitled, "Why Can't We Talk About Islam?" which has found favour in unexpected quarters, and I will put a copy of that in your Lordship's library.
So yeah, so that was Lord Malcolm Pearson, laying out the state of affairs there, and he's been calling this stuff out for years. But I wanted to share with you an amazing video that I just came across on the website of the Middle East Media Research Institute, MEMRI. You should go follow them if you don't already. And this video of this jihadist guy is being interviewed on an Arabic TV station, and so you got to watch this with subtitles here. And his name is Nabil Naim. Okay, and look at what he says. And this is a guy who served a bunch of years in prison for assassinating Anwar Sadat. He was a leader. He was a former leader of Egyptian Islamic Jihad. Okay, so very serious jihadist, terrorist guy. Take a look at this dude.
شو مشكلتك مع الإخوان المسلمين؟
لا أنا ماليش مشكلة مع الإخوان المسلمين، بس أنا بعتبرهم إن هم
Look at that. He says, "What's your problem with the Muslim Brotherhood?" He said, "I have no problem with them, but I see them as a British-made organization."
من المنظمات اللي هي صناعة بريطانية، ولذلك تلاقي معظم قيادات تنظيم الإخوان عايشين في بريطانيا. وأنا ياتوني وأنا في السجن كان ليا واحد صديقي اسمه علي محكوم عليه ب10 سنين وتم ترحيله من لندن للسجن. فأنا بقول له يا علي، يعني أنت الوحيد اللي ما عرفتش تهرب وجابوك السجن والإخوان قاعدين هناك بيبرطعوا، ما عرفتش تعمل زيهم. قال لي كلهم يا شيخ نبيل كاتبين تقارير بالتعاون مع المخابرات البريطانية. أنا ما رضيتش أكتب، قالوا لي هنرحلك، قلت لهم رحلوني. ادي القصه يا اخوي.
أنت متهم بعملية اغتيال رئيس، لماذا أفرج عنك؟
Okay, so did you get that? Here, this guy says that he refers to the Muslim Brotherhood as basically a British organization because he says all the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood live in Britain, and he had a friend who was also like a terrorist guy, and he gets deported from Britain directly into a prison. And he asks his buddy, "Why were you deported?" And he says, "Well, because all the other guys, he says, how come you were deported, but the other Muslim Brotherhood leaders in Britain weren't deported?" And he said, "Because they're all giving information to British intelligence, and I refuse to collaborate with these infidels and give British intelligence any information, so they deported me." Okay, so according to this guy from, again, a leader of Egyptian Islamic Jihad, this is like an arch terrorist guy. He's also the person who assassinated Anwar Sadat, the president of Egypt, who was assassinated for making peace with Israel back in the late 1970s. Okay, so that's who this guy is. And he basically, he says, the Muslim Brotherhood, that's a British organization. They all live in England. Okay, and now look at this news item that came up a couple weeks ago, which just kind of puts the icing on the cake, which is that the UK, take a look at this. This is unbelievable. The UK has removed from its list of eligible universities for scholarships I'm sorry, the Emirates, the United Arab Emirates have removed United Kingdom universities from its list of schools that are eligible for scholarships. The UAE has stopped funding study in the United Kingdom over fears of Islamist influence on campuses. Okay? The United Arab Emirates has taken steps to limit state-funded studies in the UK, underscoring concerns about the presence of Islamist Muslim Brotherhood groups on British university campuses. In other words, the United Arab Emirates, okay, the United Arab Emirates, a Muslim country, but a moderate Muslim country, they don't want to be involved in any terrorism. They give scholarships to students from the United Arab Emirates to study abroad, and they're not giving scholarships to students who want to study in the United Kingdom for fear of them becoming radicalized because the Muslim Brotherhood is so dominant on the campuses there. Think about that. So the United Kingdom is really far gone, and kudos for people like, kudos for people like Lord Malcolm Pearson for calling it out. But I really believe that, sadly, that it's too little, too late for the United Kingdom. All right, thanks for watching.